Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're having a great day so far. So today it is time for April favorites already. We are the end of April. We are ready to move on. Spring is now in the air. And today's video is actually a collaboration with my friend Jacqueline over at Hey It's Jacqueline. That's the name of her channel. If you don't know her, please go and check her out. She is just the sweetest, kindest, loveliest soul. She has all of the hottest new luxury makeup reviews. She's always really super speedy. She always has everything on her channel, all of the new releases, especially when it comes to luxury makeup. Just like myself, she just loves the luxury high-end bougie makeup. So if that is your cup of tea, then you will definitely love Jacqueline's channel. So check out her April favorites after you are finished here. So without further ado, let's get on with this faves and fails video. There's definitely a couple of fails this month, a couple of and a lot of great products. So let's get started. So the first thing I want to tell you about is my Gua Sha. So I picked up a Gua Sha about, I don't know, maybe 2 months ago, and I've just been taking my time getting to know it, watching videos, learning how to use it, learning where it fits in with my routine, and I'm now ready to share it with you. So this is the one I picked up. I chose this clear one because I just thought it was beautiful and I liked the shape. I liked it had this little curve here, and I just loved the whole appearance of it. It just looked beautiful. So I'm not going to go into a huge lesson on what Gua Sha is if you're not familiar. There are so many resources. I'll link a couple of videos down below. I watched video after video after video when I was first deciding whether I wanted to start using a Gua Sha and also to learn how to do it once mine had arrived. And it took a while to just feel comfortable and confident in what I was doing, but also to decide where it was going to go in my routine. And it now is the first thing I do in the morning. So I get up, I go and I brush my teeth, and then I do my Gua Sha, and I do it with cold water. And this whole routine has just changed my life. I honestly wake up, I just find it's just the most like mindful time of day for me. I wake up, I'm feeling a bit tired, I go in and I splash myself with some cold water and I look in the mirror and I do my Gua Sha, and by the time I've finished, I am depuffed, I feel awake, I feel like my circulation is pumping, I feel like I'm ready for the day. For me, I definitely suffer with real water retention and puffiness in my face. I also have really bad TMJ a lot of the time, and this I'm really hoping is going to really release and help with that. It's in the instant when you first start doing it, it makes a big difference. If my face is feeling just really tight and painful, it certainly releases some of the pressure, but I'm hoping that over time as well, it's going to be a long-term benefit and effect there as well. So yeah, definitely do some research if you think Gua Sha might be for you. I'll link the one that I have down below in a couple of videos for you to check out, because I'm definitely not an expert. So another kind of tool item that I picked up this month is the Brow Freeze, what would you call it, tool, Brow Freeze tool from ABH. So I picked this up. I'm not really one who feels like I need to have this specific applicator or the specific brush that comes with everything, but the Brow Freeze has definitely, like, you know, stolen my heart since I picked it up. Once I got used to it, it's now I use it every time I do my makeup and I love it. And when ABH brought this tool out, so on this side it has this like flat kind of spatula, and then it's just a traditional spoolie on the other end. Obviously you can use any spoolie to press your brows down, but what I loved about this is that you also have this spatula to kind of scoop the product out, so it's not wasting a lot or just getting a load in the brush when you use the spoolie to get the product out. I was just finding it was loading up the brush too much and using too much product. So yeah, this is just, it's not that expensive and it's not gimmicky. It actually really works with the product. So now that I'm just so on board with the Brow Freeze, this was a great purchase for me. I'd love it. I use it every time I do my brows, and it just does everything I need it to do in one handy tool. And one last product that is not makeup, my fragrance of the month, is the stunning Italica from Xerjoff. This is my first Xerjoff fragrance. It will 100% not be my final Xerjoff fragrance. I mean, this packaging is the most gorgeous packaging I've ever seen on a fragrance. I love fragrance packaging, and this is like the queen of fragrance packaging. The scent itself, I mean, I kind of tend to steer away from anything that's too gourmand. I don't want to smell like cake necessarily. This is just the perfect gourmand for me because it's so sexy and warm and rich. yeah, it's got some kind of citrusy kind of notes in there as well that just take the edge off. It almost smells like a sexy, spicy, lemony cake. That sounds awful, but I promise you it's delicious. Get your nose on it if you can get a sample. It is the most stunning, unique gourmand fragrance I've ever smelled. It's 100% my favorite gourmand. If you're into gourmand and you want a really unusual one that is going to really grab compliments and everyone's going to want to know what you're wearing because it's so different yet it's still sexy and sweet, here she is. So now on to the makeup. Now we're very bronzer heavy this month, as you might imagine. It was really the month of bronzers, wasn't it? So I'm going to start off with the Patrick Tar duos. Now, originally when I did my review and I did a comparison with the Wayne Goss contour and bronzer duo, and I used She's Sculpted, which is the medium shade, the shade that I felt like should be for me. You know, I am a medium skin tone, so this is the shade that should work for me based off of the guidance. It just didn't work. I like the bronzer, but this contour, it's just, you know, I've referred to it as crematorium grey, and it is just that. It doesn't look so bad when you swatch it, you know, but I think once it's blended out is when it starts to just look very, very ashy on me. The bronzer I actually do like. It's a really nice bronzer, but at the same time I feel like with these products you need to like both and get use out of both, otherwise it's just not worth the money. So that one was almost a bit of a fail for me, but then I picked up the deeper shade because I wanted to see if this one was going to work better for me, and the contour absolutely does. So I thought this would be too dark. It looks very, very dark, like when you see it swatched there and when you see it in the pan, but once it's on and you blend it out, it actually, because it blends very, very nicely. The formula itself is actually gorgeous, very easy to blend. You can see now it's not really any deeper, it's just not as ashy grey. It's just that little bit more warm on my skin tone. So this is a way better contour for me, for my skin tone. The bronzer is nice. Again, I don't love it as much as the bronzer in the other palette. So this is the trouble for me, and this is what makes this just an okay, because obviously I don't want to pick up the point of these products for me is that they're two things in one place and you don't have to reach for a contour and a bronzer. I feel like I'm much more likely to contour when I've got it together with my bronzer because it's just right there. But if I have to use the contour from one palette and the bronzer from another, I just know I won't do it. So although the formula I think is really nice, I think the shades and the tones are just a little off for me in each of the palettes, and I just feel like, you know, I shouldn't really be using the deepest shade of anything. And so it's not a fail. I like the formula, but it's also not a favorite. It's just it was okay. It wasn't my favourite, and I can't see me reaching for it that often. So speaking of Wayne Goss, his bronzer contour duo I love. This is perfect for me. I love, love, love this bronzer. It's gorgeous. It's got that stunning luminosity that I love, and just both of the tones of this is just what I look for. Here's the bronzer and here's the contour. It's the perfect balance. I find it very easy to use, and it gives me a lovely sculpted look without any effort and without me having to try. I like both shades in that same palette. I may actually pick up the deeper palette because just moving into summer, I think that bronzer is a little light for me, but then having said that, I think this bronzer is more luminous than the others, so I do love that. So maybe I will just hang in with this one, but I absolutely love the formula of this. Whenever I bronze and use this, I do contour because it's right there, so I might as well, you know, and I really enjoy how it looks. I think it looks beautiful, very natural but sculpted, and it's just very easy breezy to work with. So yeah, absolutely love it. And we may as well do the final bronzer because, you know, while we're in bronzer town, why not consolidate and just, you know, visit everybody while we're in the vicinity. So next up, the Dior Bronzers. I love these. These are gorgeous. If you don't contour, and therefore the Wayne Goss is a bit of a waste for you because you're not going to use half of the entire product, which I just feel like if you're not going to use both of them, it's just not worth the money, because you're only going to get half of the use out of the product for the full price. So it's just not a very economical purchase, I guess, if you're only going to use half of what you're paying for. These I absolutely love. Now, I did say in my initial review when I tried them that shade 6 I thought was just too cool. I mean, you can see that's a big difference. Shade 6, shade 7. I did review both of these if you want to see them on and compare them actually being applied. But yeah, you can see that number 6 is actually much cooler than 7. 7 is very warm for me. I mean, actually number 6 is almost closer to the Wayne Goss contour. So at first I was a bit like, and I think the thing is, what I need to stop doing is doing these half and half videos, because I do them because I know people love them and find them very helpful. But the issue I've got here is that this side is not lit exactly the same as this side, because there's a flipping window there that is so annoying. I mean, I just wish I could just board it up, but that wouldn't look great from a house perspective, because I do film in my house. But yeah, it just causes me all kinds of problems. It's either making a shadow on me. Today I've opened the curtain and it's kind of making it shadowy and a bit bright on this side. If I close the curtain, then it's somehow darker than this side, which I don't understand how that's happening, but it is. And I think that's what happens. I've had a couple of videos recently where people have been like, oh, that side looked muddy, or that side looked just off, and it's I know, because in person it did not look that way, but I think what's happening is because it's kind of casts a bit of a shadowy look on my face on this side, and that's what happened in that video. So that kind of made me doubt it. When I used shade 6 on my whole face, I just fell in love with it. I absolutely love this formula. It is a completely matte bronzer. There's no like soft matte, satin matte, it's a matte bronzer. So when I want to use a matte bronzer, I am loving this one. I'm still not decided on how much I love it in comparison to my Gouache and my Charlotte Tilbury. I'm still kind of working through my thoughts on that, but I will be doing a wrap up video once I feel like I know the answers to which one I like better than the others, and it takes me a bit of a while to get to that. But yeah, I love both of these shades. I happily use both of these shades, just depends how I'm feeling. But yeah, shade 6, actually, when I use it on both sides of my face, I actually really love how it looks. It's definitely cooler, it's definitely a more sort of sculpted look, but it's just lovely to have options, and I really love both of these. And this packaging, I must update you, this packaging, it's immaculate. I was very worried about it getting filthy. There's not a mark on it. It's been absolutely fine, and I just think it is like just gorgeous, beautiful, stunning. I love it. So finally, we're done with bronzers for a moment. Whew. Now we're going to be talking about this little number, the Natasha Denona Circo Loco palette. I just love this. I said this in my Get Ready With Me trying new makeup, how much I enjoy this palette. It is just so fun. The shades that I thought I would never use in here, I'm loving using. It just really does inspire me. I heard Mel Thompson saying that, you know, this palette just inspires her because it's just different. And, you know, it's hard these days if you've been buying makeup for a long time and loving different makeup and new products coming out. It's hard to buy something you don't already have times 100. And I definitely don't have anything like this, which is why I wanted to buy it, just to have something like this. And I'm just loving using it. It's just so fun. I love playing with it. You know, these oranges are just stunning together on the eye and so much more muted than I thought they would be. These purples together are just everything. Absolutely obsessed. If you love purples, this row just gives me life. I love these greens. They're just stunning. Very, very eye-catching, like nothing you've seen before. And these shades can be really beautifully used very subtly as well. This one doesn't show up on me. It's really just a very light way to blend some of the other colours into it. But again, these kind of shades all together, these three, it's a very unexpected love. But I absolutely love it. It gives me a lot of joy. I even said that it nearly made me buy the Triochrome palette, which I never considered buying. And then I got this one and I'm like, am I a colour girl now? Do I need all the colour palettes now? I don't know. Do I? So moving on to a foundation that has like rocketed this month, skyrocketed into my top 5, into my heart, into my loves, and it's the Clé de Peau Natural, and I never get it right, Radiant Fluid Foundation Natural. So I tried the matte before, and I liked almost everything about it other than the matte part, okay? I loved the coverage, I loved how little I needed to use, I loved how smooth and flattering it was, I loved how it wore on me, I loved how it didn't soak into lines and exaggerate texture, but it was just very matte for my preference. So when I heard they were basically bringing out the natural radiant version of that foundation, I knew it, I just knew it, I felt it in my bones. I knew it was going to be great. I knew I was going to love it because I loved everything about the other one apart from the finish, and that was going to be much more my cup of tea, much more tickle my pickle, if you know what I'm saying. So I knew I was going to love it, and I do. It's the foundation I've got on today. It's everything I love about foundation. It's gorgeous, it's natural, it wears beautifully, it's glowy, it's skin-like, it gives me that medium coverage, it covers everything I want without being a mask. It's just gorgeous. I love it, I love it. And I don't even mind that I'm gonna have to buy a second shade of it. The bottle itself is gorgeous. I love you. It's definitely skyrocketing, you know, I'm reaching for it time and time again. So next up, these lipsticks from Huda Beauty. I picked up 3 of these to do my initial review, and I have since ordered 2 more. So that tells you everything I think about these. I absolutely love them. I don't love the packaging, and actually one of you guys messaged me because I said I feel like this is really flimsy and cheap and it's going to break easily, like if you drop it. And one of you guys messaged me saying that that had actually happened to you and it did smash. So I was sadly right about that. I wish the packaging was a little just more sturdy at least, and a bit more solid, so it's not going to smash. It just feels very thin and light, and like, as I thought, like it could break easily. So I picked up 3 shades. I have Moneymaker, hang on. So I have Moneymaker, Gold Digger, and Boss Chick. I've got a whole swatch video of these on my lips if you're interested in that. The finish is just super shiny and gorgeous and plump and luscious and healthy, juicy lips, which is everything I love about lipsticks. Like, as you can see today, I'm not actually wearing one of these today. I'm wearing a Lisa Eldridge combo today, but they have that same glossy, shiny, comfortable, hydrating, plump, luscious. I mean, I could say just words for the rest of the video, but you get it. I like them. They're shiny. Okay. Another lip product that is not necessarily new, but I picked up some new shades this month and have been loving, and it is the Fenty Beauty Cream Gloss Bomb Cream version. I have already spoken about these. I was a bit tricky with regards to these because I just couldn't find the right shades. Like, I wish they'd brought out more nudes. The nudes that I saw, I thought were just like a little off. I thought that one of them was going to be too dark and the other was super warm looking, and actually in reality these are just perfect. I finally picked these up this month, and like days out with the kids, parks, picnics, this is all I've been putting on my lips. I absolutely just love how they're like a gloss, but they give you lots of coverage and they are not at all sticky, and they just smell like heaven, and they're a joy on the lips. So these are the shades Honey Waffles and Cookie Jar. Cookie Jar I feel like I'll love more in summer because it is just a bit like dark for me right now for what I prefer. But this one, Honey Waffles, it's just been living in my handbag, and I absolutely love it. I'm like reaching for it time and time again. When I don't want a full-on lipstick, I just want something a bit more sheer or a bit more natural, a bit lighter. Those are what I'm reaching for. Oh, and another product that has gone straight into my handbag is this lip balm from Nars. These are the matte lip balms. Again, I spoke about this in my Get Ready With Me trying new makeup. I've ordered a couple more shades of this now, darker shades, because these are just perfect under masks. But when you don't want your lips to really dry out, it's like a matte balm. The wear is lovely. It does they're not transfer proof, but they also aren't going to come off everywhere, come all over your mask or smear when you've got a mask on, because they are matte enough but comfortable, not drying down, feel hydrating on the lips. Again, an excellent in your handbag days out with the kids running to the shops kind of staple. I really like those, and they've got a great range of shades as well, so I'm excited to pick up a couple more shades of that one. And now for these Hermes blushes. Now these are kind of controversial-ish, weren't they? Just because the price point is so high, and what you have to remember is that's just the brand. That is the value of the brand, or it's the price of the brand. It is a very, very luxury brand, luxury label. Stop saying brand. Get it? It's very expensive. Everything from Hermes, their handbags, their scarves, everything is super expensive. So obviously, you know, their makeup has a price tag as well. And that aside, I really love these blushes. This one is Rose Tan, and then this one is Rose Apricot, which, as I said to you, is my absolute favorite. I just absolutely love it. It doesn't really show when I swatch it. It looks very, very light, but they both of them build up beautifully. So this is Apricot and this is Tan. Apricot is got the most gorgeous luminosity to it, which I feel like Tan just isn't as luminous, but they're both excellent, like everyday blush shades, easy to go with any look. I do think the formula is gorgeous. I don't mind the smell. They smell very strong Parma violets smell. I don't mind it. Lots of people, it will just be too much. It is very overpowering, but I just find them beautiful. Just price aside, they're beautiful blushes, but they are insanely expensive. And as everybody, including myself, has said, the packaging just feels a little lackluster at that price point. But the product itself, I really like, I really enjoy. Do I think it's, as I said before, doubly good when you compare it to Laura Mercier or Nars or Charlotte Tilbury or other blushes in that kind of price range, half the price of those? No, I think they're about the same. I like them the same. Do I like them twice as much? Definitely not. And now for these palettes from Charlotte Tilbury. I generally don't like to include products in my monthly favourites that I've only just purchased or I've only just tried, but I've made an exception for these because I just love them so much straight out the bat that I just feel like it would be silly not to include them, because it's probably it's in my top few products of the month, so I really feel like I am happy to include them, even though I've only used them a couple of times, just because I love them so much. So today I used the deeper palette. So this is Glowing Beauty. This is what I've got all over my face today, and my eyes. In fact, all I added was I've added the Pillow Talk liner from Charlotte Tilbury on my eyes, and today what I did is I used shade 3 all over, and then I went in with this shade number 1, and then I patted shade 2 all over the lid to give me that gorgeous glittery finish. I also used the bronzer, highlight and blush out of this palette, so like a full face of the Glowing Beauty palette today. I just think it's gorgeous. I love the packaging. I love all the products inside. Both of these palettes performed beautifully on me in the review. This is another one of these reviews where I unfortunately did the darker palette on this side, and I think people thought it looked a little off. And I think, you know, you can see now we've got a slight issue in here. I'm trying to resolve it. I don't know what I'm going to do, but I need to resolve it because I think it's throwing people off a little. But you can see if you look today, clearly the deeper palette is not too deep for me. Clearly it's not muddy. Clearly it's not ashy or too cool or anything like that. It's absolutely perfect on me. It's just, I think the lighting annoyingly was a little off maybe in my review. Maybe that's what a couple of people are seeing. But yeah, I mean, I loved the lighter palette as well. The highlight was definitely a little, I mean, you can see it's very light for me on my skin tone, and I mean some people don't mind that, but for me I prefer a highlight that doesn't sort of leave a bit of a cast or is that much lighter than my skin tone. In starkest winter, I've definitely caught a bit of sun already, but in starkest winter I will 100% use, and I'll use everything else in here. The shadows I loved, the blush was fine, so yeah, that's not a problem at all. I really liked the palette, but the deeper palette was just more my skin tone, but they are just both beautiful palettes. I really, really love them. I didn't expect to love them as much as I do, but they're just perfect for me. I love a palette. You guys know how much I love these kind of face palettes, and one that also has powder and eyeshadow. It's just the dream for me. If I go on holiday or I travel with work, I love being able to consolidate and just bring a few products that don't take up much space, and that is just absolutely perfect for that. And now for for another, I don't want to call it a fail because I don't think it was that bad, but it's the Fenty Eavesdrop. It's definitely just a for me, I'm afraid. I don't love it. I think it's okay. There are lots of things I don't like about it. I feel like it exaggerates my lines. I feel like it's a bit messy transferring onto my mask, and I hate the packaging. Okay, I don't mind a squeezy tube, especially not for this type of product like a skin tint or tinted moisturizer. It's generally what you expect, a squeezy tube. This one is unusually firm. Like, I mean, I'm a strong woman, okay? You know, I work out, I'm strong. And this is, you know, it's hard. You have to squeeze it. It's really quite hard. Like, it's fine. I'll be fine. I'll be able to get it out eventually. But I know for lots of people, that's going to be an issue, that it's hard to get it. You have to squeeze it quite hard, and it can be tricky. For people who are older or who have joint problems, arthritis, things like that, that is going to be, I feel. Please let me know if that's been a problem for you. It's just something I thought about, that, you know, I feel like I notice it every time I use this, like, that's what it feels like, okay? In interpretive dance, that's what the process looks like. And it's just, yeah, it just feels like, I don't think it looks particularly sexy. I would have preferred like their packaging that they have in their hydrating foundation. I think that would have been much nicer, or a pump. But yeah, I just find like I always dump out too much, and that's because it's really hard to squeeze. You have to squeeze really hard, and yeah, it's just okay for me. I don't love the finish. I definitely have other tinted moisturizers that I prefer. But you know what is a big fat fail for me? The fail probably of the year so far. I'm trying to think of a worse one, but I can't think of one right now. It's the KVD Balm foundation, the Good Apple Balm foundation. I do not like this at all. Okay, so let me talk you through the process. I've tried this a few times now. The first time I started off with a brush, and that was a horror show. It was horrifying. I was very, very careful, because I know that this is one of those foundations that you cannot use too much. You have to use a tiny amount. So it was like I showed it, my brush, and it was just brush stroke hell. Like it was bad. So I immediately went, you know what, this isn't going to be a foundation to use with a brush. That's fine. We're going to use a sponge. Now, I had seen lots of other reviews where people used sponges, and for some reason the texture or whatever of this product, sponges pick a lot of it up quite easily. So I was like, again, be very, very careful. Showed my sponge the foundation, like, and yeah, it just can't. That whole process is quite a lot. You know, foundation shouldn't be this whole process. Oh, you can't use that. You've got to use this. And you've got to be very careful not to get, like, I just don't have time for that level of stress. But yeah, once I had put a tiny amount of my sponge and applied it, that was fine. We got it on, you know, it covered. We were able to get, you know, an even coverage. It's very hard. I cannot get less than like a full coverage with this and have it look even. Like, it's either, you know, mismatched and there's some full coverage over here and some medium over here, or it's full coverage and then it just looks too heavy for me. It emphasizes every line on my face, lines I don't even think I do have yet. And my forehead, I gave it the benefit of the doubt the first time I used it, because I was having a bit of a retinol response, shall we say. I was actually using a product I didn't know. It wasn't actually retinol. I was using a skincare product, a new serum, that I didn't realise had that same cell turnover effect that retinol had. So I was a little, like, there was some peeling and stuff going on. So the first time I used it, I was like, do you know what? I don't know, that's just a fact. It was so cakey and heavy and just hideous on my forehead. But I thought, let's wait until my skin calms down. We'll try again. It looked just as bad. So it was the foundation. It looks cakey as hell on my forehead. I just never ever want to use it again. So that's that. So there you have it. Those are my faves and a couple of fails for the month of April. Please go and check out my friend Jacqueline's video and tell her I said hi. I hope you enjoyed this video and I'd love to see you in the next one. Otherwise, take care for now. Bye 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 bye.